Sagittarius, in full transparency, I wasn't planning on doing your reading today, but there was something about your energy that just kept calling to me. So maybe there's a sense of urgency right now. Maybe it feels like there is this need for clarity in your life. And while connecting with the energy, I actually had a very interesting image of kind of this like underwater candle. And there was these sort of ripples. It was kind of this distorted image. And it was interesting because this candle was burning. And so it feels like maybe there is something about opposites coming into balance or finding clarity of some kind, some sort of illumination. Maybe you're not trusting some information that you are receiving at this time, or that inner light, that inner fire. Whatever this is, it did remind me of the major arcana that actually represents your sign, the card Temperance, which is often about finding balance. It is about moderation and bringing polarity into kind of unification. It's the process of alchemy and patience and divine timing. So there are some very interesting prominent themes that are already coming through, and I did also pull a couple of botanical cards for you as well. Now, I do feel like I need to do a little bit of housekeeping before we dive into all of this. For those of you who are brand new to this channel, hello, my name is Micah, and those of you returning, you might actually notice that I did rebrand recently to Micah Sarafi, so welcome back. I do have a sale running on my website as well for this post-eclipse season. You can get 34% off all chart readings using the code ECLIPSE. I'm actually extending this to October 14th because I have been a little bit slow. As some of you can probably tell, I actually did move recently. So I also apologize in advance if there's any sort of disruptions with the audio or the video. I am still kind of figuring out how to work in this space, so I really appreciate your patience and understanding with me there. I do also have all of my links in the description of this video for my social media accounts. That way you know you're following me. And finally, if you've been following around for some time and haven't done so already, definitely consider hitting that subscribe and bell notification. That way you can always stay up to date with what's in the cards for you. And as always, your engagement really helps me continue to put out these messages and is super appreciated. So all of your likes, shares, comments, subscribes does help this channel and allows me to continue sharing these messages with you. And if you do feel so called and have the means to do so, I did recently open a Ko-fi, which is basically a service like Patreon that lets you make a one-off or monthly donation. So if you feel so called and that feels resonant with you, that's also available in the description as well. Anyway, Sagittarius, the botanical cards I pulled for you were quite interesting because they are actually both considered bumper crops. I have marshmallow, if we can get this into focus here. And I also have the mushroom morel. Now, both of these plants, or both of these botanicals, I should say, are crops that come in very often after land has been burned or there's been some kind of wildfire. And so it's interesting that we're getting this sort of recurring theme of fire. And there is something here with marshmallow with adversity. Because marshmallow is a very resilient plant, we think of it as overcoming some kind of adversity and also finding resources in times of scarcity as well. So there is something here about resourcefulness, using what is available to you and trusting that there is enough. You may have to go looking for this or kind of find these sources of support for yourself, but it does feel like they are available or they will be very soon. So kind of interesting here. We do also have morel as well. Again, very much associated with regeneration. And it does feel like there is something here where, yes, there is adversity, there could be some challenges, there may even be some endings at this time, but it does feel like there is the regeneration of something. There is the return of something here. And so it is interesting that there is kind of a resiliency theme that is coming out already, Sagittarius. I'm very, very curious to see what comes through with the tarot, and maybe we'll kind of understand these botanical cards a little bit more as well. And as I'm shuffling the tarot cards for you, I just want to give my friendly reminder that these are general readings. So not all the messages that come forward are necessarily meant for you. It's up to your own intuition to discern what messages are meant for you at this time, as well as how these messages may apply. Also consider the possibility that maybe some of these messages are meant to be shared with somebody else. So if you feel like there's something here that could be valuable to someone you know, feel free to share that. And it doesn't really matter what their zodiac sign is. This just reached you to reach them. So what are the messages that we have for Sagittarius? Also, these are timeless readings as well. If I do make any reference to the astrology during this time, you could either think of this as a sort of review going back to October of 2025, or maybe there is something here that is playing out for you as sort of a theme. So you can kind of just apply this more generally. Anyways, what are the messages that we have for Sagittarius? Show us clearly, please. Interesting, very interesting. Cards from the past. We have the Hanged One and the Page of Wands. Very interesting to me. And this imagery is feeling very reminiscent of what I was just pulling, with this Hanged One being underwater and the Page of Wands holding this light bulb, this source of illumination, the candle, if you will. I feel like a lot of you have creative potential. There's been something that's been lighting you up, but it also feels like there's some sort of blockage. Something has felt stuck. Maybe there has been something that hasn't fallen in divine timing just yet. There's been a pause or a waiting. And oftentimes when the Hanged Man comes up, there isn't really a rushing that can happen here. And the more you try to rush, the more stuck you may become. And so there is this need to have a perspective shift, to see things from a different angle very often when we see the Hanged One. And it's not always comfortable. Sometimes it is sort of like the lull, the waiting between transitions, being between lives or between chapters. But I feel like there is something here that is lighting you up. There is something here that is really speaking to you, and it may feel blocked off to you at this time. So it can be a little bit of a frustrating energy with what I'm picking up here. What else do we have for Sagittarius? What are we learning from this? What are we learning from this time? Interesting, we have the candle again. The Two of Wands. I feel like some of you need to chart your course in a different way. This card actually did come out in reverse. And so maybe for some of you, there is something about a plan that is being blocked right now. This just sort of feels like a continuation of this message. Maybe some of you are realizing ways in which things do not work or cannot be realized. And so maybe there is something about being creative, about your implementation, or the next step that you are taking. If a lot of you have felt stuck or stagnant, I think you do need to take a new approach here, or at least come at something with a different energy, a different mindset. Maybe you thought you would have progressed further than where you are as well, but it feels like there is almost this divine intervention. There is another way to do this. And there could potentially be a regeneration, something that is recovering, or something that is finally coming to life. It does feel like there's been some sort of adversity here. Maybe this blockage is involving other people or other forces in your life, something external. But on the deeper soul level, there is another path for you. There is a path forward. And of course, as I speak of adversity, we do have the Seven of Wands. Some of you may feel like you are under attack. You need to make some kind of stand, whether that is what it is that you care about, what is it that you are fighting for, the things you are passionate about, the things that light you up. Maybe even standing in your power, standing in your light, standing in your passion could draw the criticism or the offensive from others. And maybe for some of you, this is a subconscious fear or a blockage, where if you truly shine, if you find success in the thing that gives you passion, it may draw some ire, it may draw some criticism or people who do not understand. And I do feel for you, Sagittarius, a lot of you are meant to be polarizing. So don't make this wrong. if other people don't agree with you, if other people don't understand. Yeah, you have some anxiety around what success could look like with the Nine of Swords and the Four of Wands. And I do feel like some of you are coming into some sort of achievement or recognition, but there's this worry, this fear, and needing to get out of your head a little bit. I feel like you kind of need to get out of your own way, Sagittarius. And maybe some of you, it's actually not other people who are holding you back. You're afraid of other people's reaction or response to you. This could also show up in romantic relationships as well. Maybe some of you are afraid to have some kind of conflict, but it's almost necessary to address that, to face that in order to move forward. And it may be helpful to ask a third party for assistance, for guidance, or a neutral party, maybe working with a therapist, a mentor, maybe a reader, whoever it is that you feel you can entrust. But I almost feel like they're just telling you what you already know, because you're not trusting yourself for some reason, Sagittarius. And maybe that's making it difficult for you to figure out who to trust right now as well. Interesting. I have the Ten of Pentacles in reverse with the Knight of Cups upright. And sometimes the Ten of Pentacles in reverse can feel like the loss of stability, the loss of finances. But honestly, what I really see here is stepping away from traditions. Stepping away from limitations that were imposed on you in your childhood, things you internalized from society, going against convention here, and really following your heart with the Knight of Cups. Finding that heart flow. Yeah, I really feel like this is a very strong message about trusting yourself. And even though something might feel stable in your life, it's not necessarily sustainable in the long term. What feels secure, what feels familiar to you, Sagittarius, might actually be holding you back in some way. And something is kind of needing to be turned on its head. Stability and stagnation are not the same things. Stability is mutable. It's adaptable. It's flexible. It can respond to adversity. It can be regenerative. What other messages do we have for Sagittarius at this time? We do have the Hierophant in reverse. So again, there is something here about going against expectations, traditional belief systems, maybe even having some kind of crisis of faith right now. Maybe you thought your life would look very different than it does. And so there is almost like this existential crisis that could be taking place. Or otherwise, you are questioning things that you just assumed were true, some perspective that you held, some belief that you held. But I think whatever this crisis is, or whatever this challenging or contemplation is, it's helping you figure out what is true for you. Getting back in touch with your personal truth. You already know, I think on a very deep, almost cellular level, what is and isn't working for you, Sagittarius. And I think some of you are even afraid to admit that, because doing so would potentially put you at odds with the people around you, or even with the version of yourself you think you have to be in order to have approval. And this very likely tracks back to childhood, or again, some kind of social or societal conditioning that you have internalized. So really, really interesting kind of process here. Anything else for Sagittarius at this time? I do feel like some of you need to work with fire. Because sometimes the Hierophant, I do see like the brazier. There is some sort of flame or pyre. And I do feel like some of you need to release some old belief system, whether that's about yourself, the world around you, spirituality, philosophy. There is something here that needs to be cleansed. And by cleansing something, by letting something go, there is a regeneration. What else do we have for Sagittarius? Any other messages? What is going on in relationships for you? We have the Four of Cups, maybe feeling invisible, unnoticed, or a sense of disconnect overall. But I think there is a way to reconnect. And ironically, I feel like you are feeling disconnected. Some of you are feeling disconnected because you aren't embodying who you really are or some kind of truth. And I think you need to listen and honor your own truth in order to really feel received by other people. There might also be support reaching out to you that you don't necessarily see right now. There might even be a positive attention on you that you don't really perceive at this time. Because oftentimes with the Four of Cups, something could be overlooked. Yeah, we have the Eight of Swords. Don't feel stuck in your head. Don't get stuck in old stories about relationships and relationship dynamics. Cut yourself free from that. And maybe some of you are doing some kind of cord cutting, but when I really think of this process, I really like to make it somatic. Because I think a lot of the time with cord cutting, which is basically this practice of removing kind of energetic connections that are no longer serving you, a lot of the time the focus is on another person. But I really think that that person represents a larger pattern. And so the way I really recommend doing this is doing some kind of body scan, really taking some time where you can be in quiet and really introspect and feel what is going on somatically, and really feel where this attachment is, where this cord is connected in your body. And you might even be able to do this for the other party as well. And as you're becoming aware of where in your body you are holding this energetic connection or this link or this bondage, really, kind of listening to that part of your body, maybe even looking up, researching, what does that mean? What does this part of the body represent spiritually? If you have something in your heart, how is someone pulling your heartstrings, pulling from your compassion? Maybe someone is taking your creative or sexual energy if it's connected to the sacral. Sometimes with the neck, it feels like we are not allowed to see certain things. We're sort of stuck in a perspective. So there's different ways to kind of think of this as well as it relates to the body. You can also do this practice with a pattern in your life. Let's say you are attracted to people who are emotionally distant. So you can kind of visualize a connection, and maybe there is even a visual of a person who embodies this relationship dynamic to you. Maybe it's a symbol or some kind of metaphoric image. Whatever this is, it feels like there is releasing patterns, and especially like releasing belief systems that are limiting. And this is showing up in relationships for you as well. And again, I really want to encourage you to seek out support and supportive people, because I do think some of you may have a tendency to endure things on your own or to be afraid of being a burden. These are things that I think need to be released as well. Anything else for Sagittarius? I think these are the last cards I'm going to pull for you. We do have the Ace of Cups coming in here. So there could be a new connection or new relationship, and maybe this is about trusting this new energy, especially if it is a fire sign with the Queen of Wands. It could be Aries, another Sagittarius, or even a Leo. Some of you could be connecting with this energy. And some of you might even be intimidated by someone who takes up space, but I feel like there is someone in your life right now who might even be an adversary, actually. But I think this is a valuable person in your life. And in some ways, they actually want you to take up space. They want you to just say what you're thinking, even if that isn't always pleasant. So if there is a relationship that's kind of challenging you to be more direct or more blunt, this person is actually a gift to your life. And maybe this person is meant to be in your life. Maybe this person is meant to just be a test or a challenge. But I feel like there is something here that is opening your heart. And honestly, this actually feels like a very positive connection overall with the Ace of Cups. And I feel like someone is helping you reconnect to your confidence as well. Reconnect to that warrior spirit, that fight, that creative spark. I'm just gonna say, I feel like someone has like really intense chemistry with you. Someone is really, really into you, whether you see this or not. Or that could be energy that's coming in soon. And really allowing yourself to be seen as this sort of passionate, creative, even sexual being could be very, very healing for a lot of you. I actually am sort of getting like sexual healing, which is kind of interesting. And I mean, sexual energy is also creative energy as well. So take this as it applies to your life, okay? I do see the Six of Cups at the bottom of the deck as well. So maybe some of you are even reconnecting with someone from your past, or someone is helping you reconnect or heal your inner child. Someone is believing in your passion and your fire. And I think this only can happen when you are willing to share what your creative vision is for other people. And you might not actually be meant to do something alone here. So that's kind of interesting. Reaching out for that sort of support for your vision, for your passion. It does feel very creative for a lot of you, actually. But maybe this is about something spiritual. Maybe this is just about something you're very passionate about, a subject, a field, something that really fires you up. It lights up your soul. Don't be afraid to shine your light. I feel like some of you are dampening your light. I think that's the image here. We got a lot of fire and water sort of playing out in this reading. So that's very, very interesting. I would love to hear how this is playing out in your life. Definitely feel free to comment down below. Again, I am running a sale on my website, so if you're ready for that deep dive, if you're ready to see how this eclipse has really had an impact and will have an impact over the next 6 months, because that's kind of the time period we're looking at here, definitely consider booking that astrology reading now. It's an excellent time to do it. Again, I do also have other services as well. You can find tarot readings, energy healing sessions, maybe that could help heal some sort of blockage or move some energy here. I do also offer aura readings as well. Maybe that's helping you find your light. You can find that in my online store. And I will see you all in the next video. I'm sending lots of love and blessings your way. Take care, Sagittarius.